Steve, welcome back to Robins TV. I'm sure you'd start by thanking Dean Holden for his services to the club.
Yeah, it was a very difficult night on Tuesday, and it was a sad occasion to have to part company with Dean. But Dean has been with us not just as a manager, but assistant manager with Lee Johnson for a number of years. He's put in a lot of hard work for the football club. He's an honest guy, a very likeable guy, and something I didn't want to have to happen, but needs must in these situations. The results weren't going well. So we took the decision to part company with Dean. But, as I said to him the other night, the experience of doing well, it would be good for his future. Anything I can help him with going forward, I certainly will do. He's welcome back at the club at any time. And, we're grateful for what he's done for the football club and enjoyed his company. So we wish him well now, and we move on to improve our form and get ourselves back up the league. I think everybody would agree that despite our league position, we weren't playing well. There was a period, I think, where somebody quoted on one of the websites or whatever forums that we'd gone 3.5 hours without a corner during a period of those games, which shows that our attacking intent was failing, and defensively we were getting weaker. I mean, we've scored only a couple of goals in the last 6 games or so, and generally the performances have been sliding downhill. Really, they've been going downhill, and when you got to the game like Watford, when, to be honest, we were totally humiliated, a 6-0 defeat. That's the sort of game that just sends all the alarm bells ringing, and it's a culmination of all the things that have gone on before. So it's not an overnight decision. It's not a decision you come up with. It's a decision you don't want to have to make, quite honestly, because we chose Dean because we felt he was the man for the job and he would take us forward with the team he put in place, and you want that to work. And so you work you talk to them a lot, and you try to understand what's happening. We understood it all, of course, about the injury situation, which didn't help him. But when it came to Watford said to me particularly that this is alarm bells. I've seen this before. I've been in football a long time. I've seen it. You just know the confidence has gone out of the team, and there doesn't seem to be a way forward. So Tuesday night was a bit of a hiatus for us, really, in the sense that you went into that game looking for a reaction, the reaction that Dean demanded from his players, which he said after Watford. A reaction that all fans would have demanded, and ourselves, we were looking for. And to be perfectly frank, it wasn't there. We lost comfortably to Reading. They didn't have to really break sweat to beat us. And you just felt that a change was needed, because we need to get confidence back into the players. We need to get them focused on the job in hand. And I'm afraid it's a phrase I use with all managers, and I tell them all the time. I said, we've only got one card to play. And you can drop players, you can put people on the bench, you can give them a rest for a few weeks and bring them back in. You can't do that with your head coach or your manager. He's either in or he's out. And we came to the decision that Dean had to leave, and we had to regroup and start again. So it was a combination of things that built up to Tuesday night, and we were watching the game Tuesday night. John was on John, Mark, and myself were in communication through the game. And we just felt that there was no way back from where we were on Tuesday night. We had to make the change.
When you look back at the season today, we started off so brightly. We were right up there being competitive. When you look back now, what are your reflections?
Well, a bit like you say. I mean, we started off well, and confidence was good, and we played some good football, and we scored some goals. And let's face it, we were top of the table in the early weeks of the season. And really, we've competed quite well, but it's a long season, and as we've progressed, we've just got worse. And I think it's 11 defeats in 14 now, and that's just not good enough. That's relegation form, and we're now 14th in the table, I believe, and. Not so long ago, we were looking at a win to get into the playoffs, having been in the playoffs for quite a period of time. So we've been on a slippery slope for some time. I'm sure there'll be fans out there that are saying we should have made a decision sooner, but you give it every possible chance to work, and when it doesn't, then you have to make that decision. And it's a difficult decision. I think the COVID scenario has not helped us. The injury situation certainly hasn't helped us. And we can give you a tale of woe, but that's we're not in the business to do that. We have to make do with the situation. And actually, when I look at the teams that have been put out, we've got a good squad of players, good players on the pitch. We have to get those players motivated. We have to get them playing with confidence and really enjoying their football again. And as I said, we've got we only had one card to play, and that's what we had to do. We played it, and now we look to take things forward and get things back on track again.
Do you share the fans' frustration in terms of the dip in form?
Oh yeah, I mean. And actually, I take the full responsibility of everything. I'm like, although I'm not actually on the board, I am the owner. I do fund it. I do authorise the monies to be spent. So success can be down to me, and failure can be down to me. So I try and encourage people to do their best and get the best out of people. Watching the game on Saturday, in particular, the Watford game. I mean, that was. It's one of those that you just don't want to watch. I watched it to the bitter end. You feel like turning the television off when it's happening. But on the other hand, you've got to see it to the end. The one thing I regret this season, really more than anything else, from a personal point of view, is just not being at the games. You see so much more that's happening around the pitch, whereas when you watch it on the TV, all you're seeing is a snapshot. But you get the effect, because when you don't have any shots on target and you lose 6-0, you realise that things aren't going well, and so it hurts. I mean, it just hurts. I mean, I want Bristol City to be successful. I mean, I want us to be in the Premier League, and when those sort of things happen, you realise you're nowhere near it, and that's a big disappointment. Everybody can blame anybody for what's going wrong, but I take the blame. It's me. We haven't got it right, and to get where we want to get to, we've got to get it right. We've got a fantastic stadium. We've got a fantastic training ground we're going to be moving into. That's been one of the problems this year. We haven't been able to get onto it as quickly as we'd hoped this year. So we're having to make do on the periphery of the training ground, which is not a satisfactory state of affairs. So lots of things haven't gone quite right this season, but we're still in a decent position. If we can get some results going together, and the players can get their confidence back and really focus on the fact that they are good players, they can play good football, and that's what we want them to believe. We want to see them giving a good account of themselves on a Saturday afternoon on behalf of Bristol City Football Club and all its supporters.
Do you think without fans in the stadium, whether we're winning or whether we're losing, not having that added spur and fans cheering us on has affected the team?
Well, it has an adverse effect, definitely. I mean, the obvious one, which is the financial one. From the club's perspective, the club is losing money hand over fist every minute of every day at the moment, because it has no revenue other than some very basic revenue. It doesn't scratch the surface of the wage bill. I'm very proud of the fact that Bristol City is still operating properly from an expense point of view, with staff being employed and players being employed and being paid. But it's tough, and that demoralises you. But more importantly, from a match day perspective, you just don't get the atmosphere. I miss not being at the games. I miss the banter of the supporters. I miss the banter with my fellow members in the boardroom, and just the general sort of atmosphere around the game. And I think the players obviously miss that. And I don't think anybody can really answer this one. But if you're playing on a pitch when it's sort of almost deathly silent, it's a bit like a training game, and you're really trying to lift yourself and push yourself, it can be sometimes quite difficult when it doesn't go quite well, when you haven't got 20,000 people telling you what to do. That helps you to either get on and play the game, or puts the opposition off. And we've certainly missed that at Ashton Gate, and it's the same for every club in the sense that they all miss their supporters. But I think we felt it more than anybody this time, because our support has been absolutely tremendous over the last few years. Well, it has always been, but certainly with the bigger crowds we've been getting, and the support that we've been getting on a consistent basis, has just driven the team on and lifted them at various times during games, and we haven't had that. On Tuesday night, for instance, it could well, the fact that when that first goal went in, I could imagine, I've seen it with the crowds before, they know this important game, that goal goes in, and they start getting behind the team, and the second goal probably doesn't go in then. But as soon as that second goal went in on Tuesday, you could see the team just sort of drop, and Fans don't let you do that. They remind you that you got to be proud of the shirt you're wearing, and you've got to go to the bitter end. And yeah, so we have missed all that. But again, I don't want to use that as an excuse ultimately, because at the end of the day, all football's in that position. It's a precarious position. Nobody's enjoying this season, I don't think. I mean, we're playing games on a weekend. We're playing games in midweek. It's just too much. It's too much football. We've had injury problems. They've been exacerbated by the fact that players are being asked to do too much too soon. Football needs to take a look at itself from that point of view. If this pandemic goes on beyond this season into next season, we have to think again. We can't go through this again.
Paul Simpson, Keith Downing are in charge. Have you said to them for how long, and what's been the message to those two coaches?
Well, first of all, I'm very grateful for them for stepping into the breach. Obviously, they came in to support Dean, and Dean brought them in, so they could well have been within their rights to say, whether you got rid of Dean, you should get rid of us as well. They haven't said that. They've stepped up to the plate, and will be very professional about it. And I have every confidence that they're going to work with the players and try and get the best out of them going forward. As regards the time span, it's as long as it takes for us to make an appointment, and I can't say how long that's going to take at the moment. But as I said to Paul Simpson last night, it's the appointment at the moment, or the job for the moment, is for the foreseeable future. We'll keep them informed, and as we go through the process of seeking a new head coach.
You obviously spoke to lots of people during the summer. Is it a fresh canvas now, or will you look to go back to some of those candidates that were identified back then?
There will be one or two on the list that weren't, that we wanted to speak to before that we couldn't do because it wasn't the right time for them or in their careers. But what we've done is we've, like everything else, you start with a blank piece of paper. We have a good idea of the type of person we want to bring in. We've got a list at the moment of about a dozen names that have either come by introduction over the last couple of days since the announcement of Dean departing was made, and people that we wanted to follow up with. Usually, I'm sure there'll be a few more names that will come along as well. We'll work through that list. We'll talk to the representatives, probably of those people, and them themselves. In the meantime, draw up a short list, and then we'll pull that together. And then I'll make sure that I'm involved in the final discussions with them as we make that decision to who we go with next.
What's the priority here, Steve? Is it a short-term option? Is it something for the long term? I know you talk a lot about longevity and sustainability. What's the priority in terms of a manager or a head coach?
Well, every decision we make, Dave, has always been with the long term in mind. It's never there's never sort of a short term fix, or let's see if we can get away with this. It's always, this is for the long term of the football club. The appointment of Dean was exactly that. It was a long term decision we made. It just hasn't worked out. So again, we've made another decision that we're now going to abide by. We are looking to appoint somebody for the future. We're looking to appoint somebody that's going to help take this club on, develop it further. But anybody that comes in has to buy into our culture. We've spent a lot of time building up our investment in our academy and in our recruitment. We don't, everything that we built up, and also our support of the local communities. Anybody that comes in has to have all those things to the fore in their own mind. We recognise obviously that they'll have their own way of doing things, but it has to slot in with what we built here. I mean, there's no point spending all the money we have done in what we've done over the last few years if somebody comes in and tries to change it all. They need to come in and work with us and help us get better, and not try and destroy what we've done and decide that it's no good for us. So we've got to be very careful with the person we appoint. They've got to be of a like mind. We've got to be of a like mind. But we're looking for somebody that can take us back up the league and get us into the Premier League. That's the main objective when we're recruiting now, is to really get in that situation. That's always been the case, but hands up, I'm not going to try and kid people. We haven't got it right yet.
What's the process now, Steve? Do you get involved in the interviews? How does it all work?
Well, my involvement at this stage will be very much at arm's length. Mark will do a lot of the donkey work behind the scenes. He'll collate all the applications that come in. He will make the various phone calls to assess what the situation is with various people that we might want to approach as well. He will probably do the first interviews and get the first assessments, and then we'll draw up a shortlist, and then John, Mark, and myself in particular will go through that and come to draw a final shortlist and interview and appoint.
And how do you sell Bristol City to a future head coach or manager? What's the big selling points?
Well, there's a lot of them. People might not think so at the moment, but you're sat in one of them. We have one of the best stadiums in the Championship, in the country, really. To be honest, it's a state-of-the-art stadium, great atmosphere. It's a place where people like to play, want to play. Our training ground is going to be similar. It's going to be a place where people will want to be, where players will want to be, where managers will want to be, and we'll just encourage people to come along. We have a strong underbelly now of young players coming up through with great potential that can enhance any team in the future, and we will continue to develop that. And we have a strong recruitment policy which goes out and finds players that meet our requirements as a football club, and obviously the coach's requirements for the way he, or should I say in this day and age, she wants to play. So, there's a lot going for it. We are in a very good, despite COVID and despite the significant losses we'll make this year, we have a lot of leeway in regards to financial fair play and that aspect of things. So anybody coming in can see the potential to reorganise the squad if they feel that's appropriate, and to strengthen in different places. So there's a lot of leeway in that scenario. And I think we provide a very stable basis on which to operate. I mean, we may have just lost a very good man in Dean, and we had a strong time with Lee Johnson, and that didn't work. But the fact is that they had the opportunity to work with the knowledge that they were financially secure, and that they were getting all the support they could possibly get. So anybody coming in here is not going to be at the whim of I don't want to say of some of the clubs that are around where there's instability in the ownership or in the boardroom. We have we have great stability at the football club, and we are ambitious. We want to move it forward, and we have the ability to do that. So there's a lot of sales pitch there that we'll go through. You only got to look at what we've done over the last few years and the enjoyment we've had at times. Yes, we haven't got to where we want to get to, which is the Premier League, but we've had some good moments still on the way, and people can see the support. And Bristol City is a well-respected football club in the football world. I mean, the people that talk to us and are well-respected in football are always very complimentary about Bristol City Football Club. And I think the supporters don't realise how, it's like everything else. You don't really know what you've got, but we've got something very, very special. And we're not going to throw that. That's what I was saying. We're not going to throw that away with a rash appointment or a short-term appointment. We are looking to somebody to come in and just make us even more special.
Steve, I think we've had probably an average of 5 academy players in the matchday squad this season. A lot of that is down to injuries. But how proud are you of what the academy has done in terms of the development of those players like Zach Viner, Sam Pearson, Sam Bell, Riley Towler?
Well, I think that's the heartbeat of the club, really, is the academy and the development of young players. And although we've seen the likes of obviously Joe Bryan and Bobby Reid going through in past years, this is the first time we've really got to a situation where we have effectively a wave of players coming through, and that's just full credit to Gary and the academy team generally, and Brian Tinian in his role as I don't know what do you call him now, but I always call him loan manager. But I don't need to give Brian Tinian a title. He is Brian Tinian. And I know how proud he is of the fact that these lads are getting an opportunity, and that's one of the bright side of the COVID scenario and the injury list, is that these players have been given an opportunity. I do believe that the ideal scenario for Bristol City, if we could get to it, is that we have a first team squad that is very competitive, strong, and that we have a very strong under 23 squad beneath it. That if one of the first team players drops out, then certainly one of those under 23s can slot straight in. And if we could get to that scenario, we're probably as close to that now as we could ever be. But then you've got the real blend of youth and experience. Experience more in the first team, and then the youth coming in to supplement it. But the likes you mentioned, Zach. I mean, Zach Viner is an experienced championship player now. Well over 100 odd games in senior football. A lot of those in the championship. He's come in this beginning of this season, and he's gone into the team and he's kept his place and he's performed very, very well. He's been one of the bright spots during the whole of the season. And again, it's great to see that how he's developed from an academy player into a valuable first team member, and that's what you want him to see all the time. And Riley Taylor had a good game against Sheffield United in the FA Cup, so had a great debut, and then obviously had a torrid game against Watford along with the rest of the team. But he'll learn from that experience. I mean, he's young enough to put that in the locker and say, well, I'm going to learn from that and do better next time out against, let's face it, he was against a very top player on that day. But it's good to see these guys getting experience and getting onto the pitch. And we can all be proud of that. But we all know we can't, if all we have with the under-23s out on a Saturday afternoon, we wouldn't be at the top of the league. So I'm not saying you can't win anything with kids, to make that famous phrase from somebody years ago. But I do think what we do want is a blend of experience and youth, and that's what we've got, and we just need to mould it into the right shape and get some of the fit players back, like I'm saying, old experienced players. I mean, Jay De Silva's not that old, and Callum O'Dowd would kill me if I said he was old. But we have that blend. Through the squad we've got these players. Unfortunately, not all of them are fit at this point in time, and that has been a major problem for us, without a doubt.
Do you feel as if if you get through this period now, Steve, that we're in a good position overall as the club, or are you worried? Are you just focusing on the Barnsley game, to quote a coach, as it were?
Well, I think we're all focusing on the Barnsley game because that's the next one, and it's the most important one as we sit here. But look, the club is in a very good position. I don't think we should forget that. It's just that what happens in the league on a Saturday, or Wednesday or Thursday, Tuesday, is what's so important. We need to be winning football matches in order to emphasise that point. And when we're not doing that, we all get depressed. And so that's the reason why we're in a bit of turmoil at the moment and another period of change. But overall, the club is in a very, very good position. We've got good young players coming up through. They're knocking on the first team door. They're hungry for success themselves. They're doing well in their own leagues. The players that go on loan are being successful and having good experience out on loan with other league clubs. And we've got a good, strong first team squad when they're fit. So we're going through a very difficult patch at the moment, and we just need to regroup. And going back to Dean again, it's you could say, well, it's hard on him, and I agree, it was hard on him, but the situation warranted the fact that we had to make a change. But the football club is in a good position, David. I talk to you enough, and I talk to others, and the spirit away from the pitch, if you like, on a Saturday afternoon is good. It's strong. People are working hard together. They're working for the benefit of the football club and the community, and we can be very, very proud of what we're doing. But we've got to get it right on a Saturday afternoon, and at this point in time, on next Saturday afternoon against Barnsley, we've got to get it right.
Just back to recruitment, Steve. Is it harder in this where we are in terms of the global pandemic to recruit a head coach, manager, given difficulties in meeting up, difficulties in lots of different things?
Well, it's not. It doesn't make it easy, obviously, because at this point in time, we can't meet, and if we do, we've got to keep a distance and wear a mask. So you can't really see how people are reacting to you. But no, look, I think you can do an awful lot of work away from the interview, in looking at the style of the person involved, their track record. You can get references from other people as to what sort of person they are, how they operate, and then the meeting up and the conversation with people. Zoom is a good medium. It's not the best, but at least you can sit and see the person you're talking to, and have that conversation and get to really understand it. I think we're experienced enough in football now to know when people are stringing you along, when they're not, when they're telling you one thing, they're going to do another. But at the end of the day, you do trust your judgment when you're talking to somebody that they're good people, and they're going to do a good job for you, and they're going to work hard for you. I'd like to think we will not have people come to see us who aren't going to be in that category, and if they are, they won't last very long. So I think the reality is that it isn't easy, Dave. It's harder now, and that might mean it takes a bit more time than you want it to. But the reality is, because you can't suddenly jump in the car and go and meet somebody, you've got to arrange a call like this, and it may well be that if COVID starts to, as the results are now showing, an improvement, that we can get to a stage where we can actually meet up with people again, and at least have that interaction. That we might wait until that situation arises before actually making a final appointment. But we're going to take our time to get it right. I don't know how long the process is going to take. We will. I remember the comments in the summer that people felt that we didn't keep people informed. We will make an effort this time to ensure that we are giving updates as to where we are with things. We're certainly not going to be mentioning names or individuals, and I'm sure there'll be all the speculation around the forums and everything else of who we might be talking to, and people will be giving their opinion who we should be talking to. But we'll go about it quietly in our own way, and we'll do a thorough research, and as soon as we have something to announce, we will announce it. But we'll try and keep people informed as to where we're up to, what the timelines are. I think the thing is that the change has just been made. Didn't enjoy the process. Feel very sad that we lost a good person in Dean. That's behind us now. We move forward. The players know that this is football. We have a game on Saturday which we want to go and do well in. We've got Paul and Keith in charge, and they're good, experienced people, and they're I'm confident that they're going to give everything they possibly can to bring success to this club. And then we'll work the process through to find the next person to take on the challenge.